But then they got broken into, which is pretty crazy. And then the news report was that they got broken into, and what was stolen? Well, the records of the attendance, of how many kids attended there, the records of their staff. That's it. That's all that was stolen. I want to do an update on the Somali daycare scandal. Basically, it just seems to be snowballing. And if you aren't familiar, Nick Shirley, YouTuber, came to Minneapolis, visited like 10 or so Somali daycares. DHS starts coming out, starts doing searches and starts looking at stuff to see what they can find. And then a daycare that wasn't in Nick Shirley's video, as far as I know, Nokomis, reported that not only were they receiving like terrible phone calls, people threatening them and being nasty on the phone, which I'm sure is probably true. People probably latched onto that and did probably do that. But then they got broken into, which is pretty crazy. And then the news report was that they got broken into, and what was stolen? Well, kids, the records of the attendance, of how many kids attended there, the records of their staff. That's it. That's all that was stolen. So I want to share with you this group, Tusamo. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right or not. Tusamo is I think it's a Somali news organization out of Minneapolis. So some of this is in Somali and or Arabic. I'm not sure which. But watch this and then we'll talk about it here.
Then in la jajabiyey waa gudahan waa arki doontaan marka banaankan ay ka jabsadeen.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Magacayga waa Nasri. I'm the manager of Minneapolis Daycare. I want to show you what happened today, this morning, what we came to.
So I'll fast forward because he has to go away.
Minneapolis Care Center.
You can see that he's going around like dumpsters. So you can see it's boarded up there. So they're claiming that somebody came to their daycare and busted through block wall. Well, okay, so this is inside, but if you back it up just a second here. So the plywood is over the hole, and you can see all the blocks out there. So they're claiming that somebody busted a hole through the wall to the cinder block wall into their business. And that's the hole on the inside. Now, there's not much of a reference as far as what you're looking at here, but what you can see is there's a water heater here. There's the hole in the sheetrock. There's the block wall here. And so other people have talked about this too, but I really wanted to highlight it because it's pretty crazy. It's pretty damning. And it's supposed to show something that you would feel bad for them. You would have sympathy for them that they were being targeted. But then you start looking at this and it's like, this doesn't make any sense. So the sheetrock is cut, but it's cut down below the cinder block here. Well, if you're coming in from the outside, how are you going to reach? How are you going to reach in there and cut that? And why would you cut that? Because the cinder block's in the way anyway. So why would you reach down to cut sheetrock that's not going to be in your way because you have to go over the cinder block wall?
gudahan waa arki doontaan marka banaankan ay ka jabsadeen. Marka xalay ayay jabsadeen miya?
So you could see that where he started walking was at the front door, and then they walked around into the alley, and now they're going back. So I just remember the layout here.
Around 3 a.m. and then we came on Loshege around 6 o'clock.
saaka subaxii
salaad subaxii marka soo tukanay waan loo sheegay daycare imaadaan lagu dhahay.
They're saying around 3 o'clock this got broken into, is what they're claiming. Now, I want you to see.
daycare-ka ayaa tusaya meesha laga soo.
Do you see what's right up here? Yeah, there's a surveillance camera right up there. Now, they show surveillance camera on some news, and it's all completely blurry. So, whether it's just crappy camera or they just have it blurred out for the news, but so this should be caught on camera. Which is the thought, right? Like, why would they go into the alley, try and cut through the cinder block wall? Now he's going in the front door. Now watch how far we have to walk. This is what we did in the alley, but now in the building. Okay, so that's a random picture. That's a random picture of the door to the office that they're claiming got broken into. So here's the hole that they think that they're claiming was cut. There's a electrical box, an outlet right above it that you wouldn't know from the outside was there. There's, the water heater, there's the junction box up there. It's just seems pretty crazy. Like, how would you know where on that cinder block to start cutting to cut through or to break? You're gonna break those cinder blocks. And it's hard to tell in this picture, but that hole seems pretty small. I mean, a guy my size, 6 foot, 200 pounds, no way I could fit through that hole. You can see the cinder block wall is covering half of this hole. So then he's turning around, turning back to where he came, and he's showing you this closet, I think. Now there's some random damage there. Like, why are they're damaging the wall there? They're trying to get through that wall to go somewhere else. But they don't get anywhere. Now we're going back down the hall the way that they came. All the way down to the daycare. Oh, what's right here? Also a security camera, right? Indoor security, like a ring type camera. Right there. Did that catch anything? So here's the door that they're claiming got kicked in. That door is the door that's broken. You can see.
It's never open.
I'm not sure what he's pointing to on the floor here, but I guess it might be the plunger, not the deadbolt, whatever it is for the door that has popped out.
checkbook iyo warqado ka goosteen qaateen documentiyada dhan ay qaateen. Okay, marka maxaa u malaynaysaa marka maalmahan maadaama businessyada ganacsatada Soomaalida soo weerarayay.
So he says that, again, documents pertaining to the clients, so the kids that stay there, the count, how many were there, how many are there, how many they need to be paid for, staff, documents of some kind, allegedly.
maxaa u malaynaysaa inta na soo istaaji arrintan wax ma jiraan marka dad in soo wacay iyo maaragtay waxyaabo kale handadaad iyo wax kale ma jiraan
waxaa jireenay from Saturday baa waan soo wacay waan weydiinay is this a Somali daycare markaa deeno yes I your abuse waxaa dhan for no reason bina soo wacayn oo waxaas leeyihiin it's been going on continuously since Saturday till this morning as well.
okay
Yeah, he's talking about the phone calls, nasty phone calls that he's been receiving, that they've been receiving, and then this happens. But again, documents for the kids that attend school there is what was stolen, apparently, in this pretty complicated cutting through the wall. Here I want to show you something. So yeah, again, kids, just the documents, basically, for the kids that attend daycare there, and staff documents, apparently. All that trouble for that. There's a front door right there that we walked through, that they walked through. Of course, it's locked, but if you knew that the office was right there, break a window, go right in there, I punch a hole in the wall right there, like just very odd. So here's a top-down view of the daycares. Front door's right here. He walked on camera all the way down here around whatever's hidden behind that gate, and then shows you through these gates, and the hole is right back here. Okay? So they're saying somebody 3:00 in the morning cut a hole in the cinder block there, came in, knew exactly where to cut so that they got in, come in. There's like that closet that's right here. Go in there, do a bunch of damage to the wall in that closet. Don't get through it. I don't know what's back behind there. And then go all the way down the hall. 3:00 in the morning, you're a burglar. You're doing all this. Go all the way down the hall. Turn this way, go in, go to the office. The office is right here. There's the office door. Kick in the door. File cabinets are right there. Get your files for your student files, your staff files. And then go back all the way back down here and go back out. Crazy. It just seems so crazy. So then we got this. CBS News decides that they are going to do a story about this. So listen to what they have to say. You see this? Like, you see this woman by the hole? That's the hole. I don't know what she's doing. I saw some pictures on Facebook where all this insulation was on the floor, but the insulation's all there unless they shoved it back in there before the newsies got here. So this is like a normal sized woman, maybe even a little bit plump woman, but that hole, you can't get through there. You can't get through there at all. That's not even close to big enough for you to get through. Here you go. Look at that security footage, I think, from that camera. Okay, so did I get myself stuck here? Okay, so yeah, I mean, is that great that Trump immediately throws that stuff up there? I don't know, but I'm telling you what I see. It looks bad. It doesn't look like that's plausible. First of all, cutting through that wall, knowing where to cut, knowing exactly where on that cinder block wall to breach. An expert might say no. If you're an expert, you would know where you could breach safely. But then what's on the other side? You don't know what's on the other side. And then that hole seems too small. And then to do all of that, do the damage in the closet on your way, go all the way down the hallway. There's a camera inside, above the entrance door. Go past that, go to the office, kick in the office door, and then steal documents. What are you looking for? Why is that worth it? I can't find a reason. I don't understand a reason why that would be worth it to do that. So that's what I'm saying. So now we hear about that. I haven't been able to do a video for a couple of days talking about this. And then Lou Ragoose, he's a newsie for Care 11 out of Minneapolis, out of the Twin Cities in Minnesota. So there were some updates And so I saw that he posted this.
Of the Somali-owned daycares featured in Nick Shirley's viral YouTube video, 2 of the closed and 5 of the active centers received money from Feeding Our Future, the nonprofit at the center of a pandemic-era fraud scheme that cost taxpayers more than $300 million. The connection first noted by the Minnesota Star-Tribune. According to the data I've collected over the past 5 years, those 7 daycare centers received $6.3 million from Feeding Our Future, claiming to serve 2.8 million meals to kids from 2018 to 2021. One example, you can see from my numbers, Minnesota Best Child Care Center on 17th Avenue in Minneapolis claimed to serve 43,000 meals in 2018, 99,000 in 2019, 67,000 in 2020, and then suddenly nearly 492,000 in 2021. None of these daycares have been charged in the Feeding Our Future fraud case, and they haven't been formally accused of daycare fraud either. I'm Lou Ragoose. Follow for more news. Of the Somali-owned daycares
Isn't that
featured
crazy?
in
So that's what I see. I am just looking at it from somebody who looks at this stuff, you know? I mean, people who've been paying attention to this see the same things I do. The break-in doesn't make any sense. It only makes sense if you're thinking that you're going to get audited and you want to be able to claim that you don't have any of the documents showing that you have only been serving a small number of the people that you've been charging the state for. That's the only thing that makes sense. There's no reason why an outside third-party criminal would have broken in to do that elaborate scheme to get those documents. And then you have to think, well, if they made it up, if they did this whole thing, if it's an inside job to make it look like something that it's not, why the crazy route through the cinder block wall, through the kitchen? Why the damage in the closet? Was the damage new? Why that path instead of somewhere closer to where the documents are, closer to where the office was? Why go that route? You know, we may never know. But it sure looks like they were preemptively trying to come up with a reason for why they didn't have documents or couldn't produce documents for an audit that was inevitable at this point, because this is such a hot topic now. Another thing that has come up as far as my own personal thinking of this case is that, you know, we can see on, so I can pull up like the screen here. So this is Nokomis Daycare. This is on the public website where you can search and look them up. You can see, you know, that they're licensed. They are licensed for so many kids. Capacity 71. Big place. And then here are the violations. Now, these violations are, in fact, not very serious. They're like, you need to have a background check every year as an adult who works there, I think. And so some people hadn't, but then they immediately did. Things like that. Yeah, so in the ones that I've looked at, this one, Nokomis, didn't look like their violations were bad. They weren't put on probation or anything like that. They have been in good standing as far as I can tell. So this stuff happens. They do an unannounced visit according to DHS or DCYM, whatever it's called. they do an unannounced visit, and they go through and see, oh, there's, you know, it's not up to code here for whatever reason. There's some dangerous items in this room that kids can get access to or whatever. You get marked down for the violations. You have to correct them. What I don't know is when they show up, and they only have to do an audit once a year, I think. When they show up, how many kids are there? You know, another news organization decided to reach out to a number of these daycares, and of course the daycares are all up and running now. They're all able to have a few kids in them, and they're open right now because the heat's on, and they got to show that they are doing what they actually are supposed to be doing. But when they go and do these audits, do they count how many kids are there? They only do it once, and that's it. So how do you know how many kids are at each one of these facilities? Are there so many facilities that you can't do an audit or a stop in more than once a year? Is there any reason why you can't look at the paperwork a little bit closely, identify how many people are actually coming and going, what if you get some secondary information from the families that are supposed to be there? And maybe they do all that, and maybe it's all faked anyway. But it seems like when you show up at a place, when you show up at a building that has 16 healthcare facilities in it, back to back to back to back, and there's nobody there to provide any sort of healthcare. And when you have multiple daycares right next to each other, and when you have a daycare that gets closed down because it violated something, and then it's reopened in the daycare building is reopened the next day in a different name. Those are all just so egregious that they cannot get a hold of this. They cannot keep tabs on that stuff. But I don't think it's that. I think that they do. I think that the whistleblowers, there are whistleblowers, the inside people, the people who know what's going on and tried for years, I feel will come out and say, we have said that there's fraud for years, and nobody would listen. We've already heard that there are whistleblowers who are saying that there was nobody to go to. They didn't want to hear it. There's nobody to go to. They were shut down by Governor Walz and his second in command when ever approached about this kind of stuff. So it's damning. I think this daycare thought they would get some sympathy because if they did this right, because we got broken into because of the rhetoric. The rhetoric is from this viral video. It's all because we're all Somalis and feel bad for us. And in some of the press conferences, you can see some, of course, white women who are holding signs and shaking their heads and just all here to support what is pretty obviously shady or outright fraudulent activity in some of these cases. So, yeah, this has been an interesting one for me, and it's fun to watch and see other people who clearly are paying attention and pick up on the exact same stuff that I do as far as the way that the burglary was conducted. It was just crazy. The hole is too small, going through cinder block, not knowing what's behind the cinder block, going all the way down the hall, kicking in the door, just to get student records or child records and staff records. Ridiculous. But so it continues to evolve, and I'm sure that we will learn more and more. Now that you saw Mr. Lou Ragoose, now that you see he also has put together, the Star Tribune, I guess, originally put together the fact that a number of these daycares also received money from Feeding Our Future. Massive $250-300 million fraud. So that's eye-opening. And the one that he highlighted had in 2021 had said that they served 400 something thousand meals, which I calculated out. It was like that would have been 1,375 meals per day, every day for 365 days. So that, yeah, I mean, it just keeps snowballing. The people who want to protect the Somali community, these bad actors, I guarantee you at least a majority of them are, in fact, bad actors, but they've been helped by the Democrats in the state for years. And Walter Hudson, who is a member of the state, he's a legislator, and he had a good point. He said people are calling for Walls to resign, just resign right now, resign. He said, yes, I mean, those are justified calls because he's such a disaster. He's failed. He is the biggest failure governor, Minnesota governor failure, biggest of all time, worst of all time. But if he resigns, if they can get him to resign, the Democrats will then scapegoat him and say, well, there you go. He was the problem. That was the problem. We got him. We got him out. Everything's fine. And then status quo, right? They will continue on the way. They will hope that the constituents, the citizens of Minnesota will be, unfortunately, as boneheaded as they have been for 30 years and continue to vote these people in and vote the next Democrat in. Now, if he stays, because I hope he does, because he looks so terrible and he's so full of himself that I hope that he will refuse to resign. I hope that he will refuse also to continue to campaign, that he will campaign and try and get his third term. I think that will benefit us all a lot more if he loses, which God forbid if he doesn't lose, but he should lose. That's how I see this playing out the best for us. But we'll see. Anyway, that's it for now. Thanks. I'm Steve Loomis with Walking That Mile.